Hey listener, this is Dino Wright. In time for our screening of 8 Mile at SteelStacks in Bethlehem on the 19th, here is a rebroadcast of our original episode on this classic film, based on the true story of Eminem's rise through the Detroit rap scene.
Come out to SteelStacks on Thursday, September 19th at 6:45 p.m. for a throwback DJ set by DJ Arm18, a special live performance by Allentown's own Mac Vill, 8 Mile on the big screen, and an exclusive video interview with Craig G of the legendary Juice Crew. Tickets at steelstacks.org.
Tonight you won't want to miss.
Welcome to Hip Hop Movie Club, where three old heads put their old heads together to vibe on some of the most memorable or forgettable hip hop themed movies of all time. And here's HHMC with your HHMCs, Boogie, JB, and Dino Wright. Season 5, Episode 3, 8 Mile. Yeah, that adds up. Written by Scott Silver and directed by Curtis Hanson and produced by Curtis Hanson, Brian Grazer, and Jimmy Iovine. Released in 2002 and featuring Eminem, Mekhi Phifer, Brittany Murphy, Kim Basinger, and Anthony Mackie. We'll answer the question, will B Rabbit take his one shot, his one opportunity to seize everything he ever wanted in one moment?
Set in the gritty urban backdrop of Detroit, 8 Mile is a semi-autobiographical tale of rap icon Eminem, whose character is Jimmy B. Rabbit Smith, and his early struggles breaking into the hip-hop scene in 1995. Against great odds, the gawky young white dude living in the trailer park with his downtrodden mom and toddler sister, B. Rabbit struggles in finding his way and his voice and faces formidable foes in the leaders of the Free World Crew. So 8 Mile, this is classic film. Eminem, as we know, has gone on to become a legend. What are some of the key points, Boogie, that you take away from 8 Mile?
Yeah, I really enjoy 8 Mile. I'm an Eminem fan. You know, I like what he's brought to the table with his lyricism and his energy. So watching 8 Mile, for me, it's autobiographical movie for him, but it's very entertaining. And I do see some of the parallels between the movie and his actual life, coming up in the underground and having to make a name for himself despite being a white rapper in a predominantly black area and trying to gain the respect of everyone and prove that, hey, listen, I got what it takes to go toe-to-toe with the heavyweights in the area. So it's an underdog story, you know, in a sense. And I love underdog stories. And he's that character, like you root for him from the beginning, because you see what he has to deal with in the beginning, because he's automatically nervous and he doesn't want to go out and perform. So you want to see where this character is going to go, and you eventually do want to see him make it to the stage and battle, which is where he was trying to do in the beginning of the film. And then you have crews that hate on people, you know, such as the Free World Crew, and they're pretty much like, you know, bullies to anyone who wants to make a name for themselves in the Detroit scene. So you don't like them, and you know that they're picking on him from the beginning. So it's like I said, you want to root for him. You want to see him succeed. You want to see him overcome what he's dealing with. He's poor. He's, you know, single mom raising the both of them, and she's not all there. You know, she's dealing with a deadbeat boyfriend who's not all there, and you want him to get the best out of things. So you follow him along through this journey, and it all comes to a head at the end. And you know, you cheer for him. You're like, yeah, he did it. You know, so it's one of those movies where I always enjoy watching that him overcoming those obstacles, and making it on that stage. Because, like I said, that's how he became famous. He became famous from battle rapping, and that's really how he made a name for himself before getting signed. So, yeah, this is a great movie. I highly entertaining, and I highly recommend it.
Don, all right, you want to add anything about your initial impressions of the movie as well?
Sure. I thought Eminem was really good as an actor. And,
Yes.
some people can't pull this off, but, he's an elite performer. And so he can do this well, too. And he really plays a hero's journey well. You see him in his humble beginnings and adversity in the beginning, choking at the shelter. But, you get to see his progression to recovering from that. And I think he played it really well. And, yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I don't know Eminem's discography from front to back. Like I heard a lot of songs, but I didn't really get into like his albums so much. And so I really enjoyed this aspect of his stuff. So really great. And
Yeah, there's a grittiness to this, and the
Yeah.
portrayal was very well done. You see a lot of East Coast stories, you see West Coast, and now we're in the heartland, or the Midwest, Detroit, and you see a lot of folks. Detroit's economy has historically been based in auto industry and factories and whatnot. And B Rabbit worked at the new Detroit stamping factory. You remember when Eminem first burst on the scene in real life, like in the late 90s, when you first heard him, and he had this unique sound, almost a little bit nasally and spitting fast, but also just kind of insulting everybody in his path. And you're like, what's up with this guy? Like, why is he ripping on Pamela Anderson and In Sync? And like, why is he so angry? And this kind of gives you a glimpse into what he had to deal with, right? He comes from very little means. Like you said, Boogie, his mother is really downtrodden, not a great mother. And he's getting picked on and bullied, and he wants to be in this industry that he's an outsider. So you can kind of tell, where does that anger come from? You can see it through this lens for sure.
Absolutely. I think from years of being pushed around, he got to the point where he strikes first. He doesn't give you a chance to get him. He's going to get you first.
Right.
I had a different impression of him, like at least from this first single, right? My Name Is.
Yeah.
And but who is this guy that sounds like Snoop Dogg and Ween put together? I thought it was his rap. That song was so funny to me. It's like, but this isn't a Snoop Dogg song. Like there's more humor in it to me. And it's like, wow, this is really good. Who is this guy?
A fun fact is that he goes by the moniker Slim Shady, as we all know, but that phrase is not mentioned at all in the movie.
Right.
Which is interesting.
Semi-biographical.
Exactly, semi-autobiographical. But I think that the cast around him in this movie really did a great job. Brittany Murphy, I've always loved her.
Yeah.
She was terrific in this.
Yeah, with from Clueless, her days in Clueless, when she was the nerd that they kind of spruced up. And I was kind of like always sad to see her on stage, on the screen, because she died at such a young age.
Oh, it's very bittersweet.
Yeah, it's always very bittersweet. Just kind of like when you see Heath Ledger and some of those other younger actors and actresses that have gone too soon. But she was very charismatic and enigmatic. She's always that perfect combination of charismatic and enigmatic. You're just like something, but you really like her.
Yeah,
and that is Rabbit's love interest in the movie. And they share a lot in common. She left home at 17, and he's, mostly on his own in a wayward state. And she's looking to break out to the big city, New York City, to pursue a modeling career and kind of make a book. But the other cast is great too. Anthony Mackie, who's a megastar now in the MCU, as Falcon and Winter Soldier, and the new Captain America and whatnot. He has a big role as Papa Doc. The leader of the leaders of the free world crew, and he's kind of nasty in there, and that's his role. Yeah.
Rabbit beats the Falcon.
But then also the other parts of the ensemble, Kim Basinger does a great, convincing job of playing the trashy mother. She plays that really well.
Absolutely.
Very good. Yeah. And
Cheddar Bob is my man.
Cheddar Bob.
Cheddar Bob.
Cheddar Bob is like I don't want to be insulting, but kind of like a dim-witted, unintelligent, but funny, but super loyal friend of Rabbit in the crew. And he has that very memorable scene where, there's a feud breaking out between their crew and the Free World crew, and he has this gun, his mother's gun, and he accidentally shoots himself in the leg. He goes full Plaxico Burress.
Plaxico Burress.
Yeah.
No,
I forgot about that. Oh man.
no, this is serious. He's the thing with this, and he's bleeding
man.
profusely, and they take him out driving to the hospital. And even during that hospital scene where he's driving, he just like blurts out MC Bob, and they're like, what are you talking about? MC Cheddar Bob? And he's wondering what his rap name's supposed to be, because he wanted Rabbit to teach him how to write rhymes.
That was a good scene. And DJ is or Eyes, I couldn't remember what it was, but he was very enlightened, and it reminded me of Sharif from Menace to Society. And another film, I can't remember now, but there's another type of character who's like the conscience of the crew.
Yes.
Yeah, like Preach. Exactly.
Preacher, that's it. Yeah, Preacher. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. That's the same role, and they make fun of that in the Don't Be a Menace to South Central.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Then you have Mekhi Phifer playing Future, who I guess that's a parallel to Eminem's actual friend Proof.
Yes, right.
Late Proof, who passed away from the crew. But yeah, he was, Mekhi Phifer is Mekhi Phifer, so he's going to give you what he got.
And I take it every time because he's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's great. He's got the dreads in this one, and normally he doesn't have a little longer hair. So it's cool to see him as
trying to convince B Rabbit to take his shot, and just kind of sticking through him even when B Rabbit has doubts, and that kind of turns on him a little bit. When he goes to apologize to him, man, at the end he was like, yeah, it's all good. I'm here. I never left. I'm here. And he convinces him to go out there and do his thing. But yeah, he was a very loyal friend to B Rabbit. I remember the first time I was like, yeah, that's definitely Proof right there. Yeah.
Yeah, he's based on him.
I meant to go look and see like any of the other D12s like characters portrayed in this movie. I didn't really look.
I'm thinking Bizarro is I can't think his name in 8 Mile. Big guy.
Saul?
Yeah.
Well, I know Eminem's friend Obi Trice, who's on some of his records, he was in this film also.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dap at the end of the battle.
And did you catch Exhibit? Was it he was the lunch truck rapper that he did, and Exhibit was in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Exhibit was ripping on everybody until M came and ripped on him.
Exactly. He was not getting his ride pimped. Nope.
It's good to see Exhibit too, man. He's a good dude too. So it's like, he got a nice little part in there.
Yeah.
And there was a character of Wink, and he was shady. He was buddying up with B Rabbit and crew and trying to promote them into that shelter, rap battles. But he was also playing the other side too, and he was hanging with the Free World crew. And then during the battle, I think he actually ended up kicking B Rabbit, right? Did I catch that?
That was when he got jumped afterwards.
When they jumped him.
Yeah.
After he
handed Winkham his butt in the radio station room upstairs. he called the Free World crew, and then they ran down on B Rabbit outside of his trailer.
Yeah, that was tough to see because there was Lily, B Rabbit's very much younger sister, who was only like a toddler, and B Rabbit had removed her from the home because his mom was drunk and took her next door. And that's at the point where he's like, go inside, because the crew had pulled up. And sadly, she got to see her brother get beat to a pulp by that crew. And she was shouting, Jimmy.
Yeah.
But they spared his life. They had a gun to his head, but they just wanted to really intimidate him, beat him up. But I think that really spurred him on and inspired him to, finish writing and then battle into that final battle scene, rap battle scene.
You spare the rabbit's coming for you. He came for the whole crew, one by one.
Speaking of which, 2023 is the year of the rabbit. You guys know that?
I didn't know that.
The Lunar New Year, and I'm a rabbit actually. So
me too. There you go.
Maybe good things ahead. Hopefully, we'll see. They build up a lot of drama in here. I see like almost every time that B Rabbit takes the mic, there's this long pause, and suspense is built in the very beginning scene, which actually inspires the lyrics to "Lose Yourself," which we'll get to. He in that very opening scene, he literally does throw up on his sweatshirt, so that's part of the lyrics.
Yes,
vomiting on the sweater already, bomb spaghetti. But there's that long pause, and then almost every time he's actually doing rap battle, there's this long pause, and you're almost holding your breath, like, is he going to choke again? Because the crowd starts to egg him on a little bit, and then he does kind of start flowing and does an amazing job.
Once he confronts Lickety Split in that battle, he gains his footing, because now the crowd is cheering him on a little bit, because they're like, oh, this guy really got a flow about him. And I think he gains his footing in that moment, and it's like, okay, he broke the ice.
And I think the challengers got a little harder and harder in procession. It's just like you're moving up the ranks in the heavyweight championship. And then the next one is versus Lotto. And Lotto did a really nice job, and it was really even with the amount of applause and cheering from the crowd. He's the one that hit that Leave It to Beaver reference. And I think Rabbit says to Future, it's like, hey, man, he almost got me with it. Leave It to Beaver reference. But he kind of flipped it back on him.
Yeah.
Ward, I think you're a little hard on the beaver.
So good. So good.
And I like the way he ended that battle too. And my motto was, I get the dollar from your mother. I get the oh man.
Woo.
Yes. He
Finish him.
Fell apart.
Finish him.
I get the dollar from your mother. I used to know that whole part. That whole
something about getting 7 numbers for $1 for your
tomorrow. Yeah,
because his name was Lotto. That was nice.
From your mother tomorrow. Oh man.
And then the final battles versus Papa Doc, Anthony Mackie's character, and there's this beautiful symmetry in the movie, whereas B Rabbit choked and really couldn't perform at all in the beginning. So he lost the battle, was booed off stage, like the song says. And he just left him full, in shame. Whereas he is so more polished now. And his strategy was really hype up the crowd. He's got the crowd going, wave your hands for the 3-1-3. And he's really kind of just spilling his guts, saying, almost like being self-deprecating, saying, listen, I am a bum. I'm white. I live in a trailer with my mom. He's even said that my girl slept with Wink because that was the thing. Yeah. He's like laying it all out there, whatever, but he makes it rhyme. So it's like, what else more can you say about me? And then he starts dissing on Papa Doc for having gone to a private school. His real name is Clarence and all this stuff. And he just throws in the mic, what else don't you know about me? And it was kind of like, all right, that mic drop moment. He didn't actually drop the mic, but he kind of throwing it. It's like, all right, what more can you say after that?
But I know something about you. You went to Cranbrook. That's a private school.
He did his homework. I noticed that, like, a lot of these he did his homework on these guys. You know who you're going to compete against, and that was smart.
He really turned his vulnerability into invincibility, and he was so good that Papa Doc couldn't even say anything.
But I think that epiphany came to him because Cheddar Bob kind of said, hey, are you worried that they're going to talk about what he's going to say about you? And then he was like, oh, shoot. And Cheddar Bob was just kind of like, spilling like, you scared he's going to say all these things about you. And he's like, wait a minute. He might say these. So I could beat him to the punch.
Yeah.
And I guess Papa Doc, trying to hold his cards and tell him to put his cards and say, let him go first. Because he thought he was going to choke. And he didn't choke.
That's always
all out there.
That's a good point. Cheddar Bob as kind of dim-witted as he was, he did come up with that statement, and he is a source of some strength for Rabbit. Remember, he's the one that says like "F the free world," and then he kind of start the whole feud and everything. It's like, man, what are you talking about? A good point there. And yeah, about going first, they would do heads or tails. They would get, I think it was just 45 seconds normally to do the rap, and then this final round was a 90-second. But just like in a lot of sports, you can choose to defer or whatever, which team goes first, or like in NFL overtime. A lot of times you want to go second because then you know what you need to do. Do I need to get that field goal or to tie it, or do I need to get a touchdown? So in most cases, you would opt to go second because that way you can kind of turn the words on you. In this last case, the final battle versus Papa Doc, like you said, Papa Doc said, you go first. So he really had to go all out. You can't hold back at all when you're going first. You don't want to give them any ammunition at all. So he just kind of
checked off all of the punchlines.
Exactly. He emptied it all out.
Yep. Rendered him speechless.
Yeah.
Literally. Yep.
And then the beat cut, and he still kept going. I don't need the beat.
Hey, you're winning when you don't even need the beat.
Yeah. He says, you know what? And I think too in that last statement, he said, you know what? I don't even care what y'all think about me because I didn't already prove myself. So it is what it is. This is who I am, like me or not. Tell them something they don't already know because I didn't told them everything.
Yeah. Very disarming.
Stole all of your punchlines. What are you going to say now?
Exactly.
What are you going to rap about off the top of your head?
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny when the very first was it versus Lickety Split, or was that in a different rap battle where he actually mooned the guy?
Oh yeah, that was I think that was Lickety.
That was Lickety. The first one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That was funny.
If you wouldn't smile and walk right across the 8 Mile.
That was good. So good.
But yeah, he really got on poor Clarence though.
True.
But it was funny because how he actually figured out his name was when they were hanging out with the girls, and she said, "Oh, Papa Doc something." She said, "Who, Clarence?"
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, he went to school with my sister, my brother, or something like that. Yeah, and he said, "Oh, okay," and he wasn't even in part of the conversation, but he just registered in the back of the file, just stashed it back there.
Yeah, it's just a funny name for me. It reminds me actually of Beastie Boys. Hey, ladies.
Oh yeah.
There's a line where it's just ridiculous. Someone, I forget who says it. It might even be someone outside the three main guys. It's like, is your name Michael Diamond? No, mine's Clarence. It just gets me every time. But great cast. The guy that played Greg, who was the deadbeat boyfriend, Michael Shannon, he's gone on to much bigger and better
What
things.
A great career.
Yeah. You wouldn't think.
He's a phenomenal actor.
He's so good. Whew, so good.
Yeah, I've seen him in some stuff, and he's really, really good. He was even good in this.
He was great in this. Oh yeah.
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 He was great. And ironically, they were joking in the movie that he went to their same school, so he was almost around their same age, which made it even that more awkward for Rabbit that he's with the mother. But in real life, he's a couple years younger than Eminem. He's something like 48, and Eminem just turned 50 this year. And Taryn Manning plays Janine, who was B Rabbit's ex-girlfriend. She was in Hustle and Flow and a lot of things as well.
Yeah, it
was a great cast.
Absolutely.
I enjoyed Michael Shannon in Knives Out. You guys see Knives Out?
I haven't seen it yet.
Yes. Oh, you haven't seen it? Oh man, he plays the son of the writer. He's very good in everything.
Yeah,
and
sure.
8 Mile, directed by Curtis Hanson, who also did L.A. Confidential. You guys see that movie?
I have not.
Ooh, it's a great movie. 1997. One of my favorite movies from that year. And Kim Basinger was also in this movie. She plays the lead.
I remember that it was critically acclaimed.
Yeah. And he also did Wonder Boys, if you ever seen that, with Michael Douglas. Tobey Maguire, terrific movie. Yeah, his range is great, but he passed away a few years in 2016, so maybe one of his last movies.
I had one question for you guys, if you picked up on this. Rabbit's crew goes and burns down an abandoned home because that was a scene of a rape of a young girl, and they thought it as a symbol that they wanted to destroy. And yeah, I understand where they're coming from. Well, during that scene, B Rabbit finds a photo of a family, like a Polaroid. I didn't know if was there any significance to that, or was he just like saying, "Wow, this used to be an actual home," or was he just longing for like a traditional nuclear family? I don't know. I didn't. I was having trouble like seeing the significance of that.
I wasn't sure what that was like you, but I think it was supposed to symbolize a more stable family, or like here's a home that this was a home.
Yes.
At some point, but it fell into disrepair. It became an attractive nuisance, which is an actual thing. Attractive nuisance is
attractive nuisance.
Thing.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But I picked up on that too.
Yeah, it was kind of like you looking at the photo, like, yeah, man, this was once a home of love, and like things fall apart, and this is what it's become.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they were saying, if there was no abandoned home, then this guy wouldn't have been able to rape the girl, and so let's destroy this area, and it was symbolic. But you're right. I think Rabbit made some sort of suggestion that he either wished he had a home like that, or he used to have something to that effect when he was talking to Alex. Anything else that you guys kind of questioned or disliked or about the film? I mean, one thing that I see as a common theme, and I guess this comes with the machismo and bravado, is again there's homophobia in it.
Yeah.
Even though Rabbit does befriend the one gay man at his job, there's still a lot of homophobia in his lyrics and a lot of the back and forth.
Yeah.
The rap battles and stuff.
Yeah.
I guess even in 1995, we weren't that evolved yet.
Right.
Yeah, and that was the one guy who actually, he actually saved the day in a sense, if you think about it, because he held down this B Rabbit shift while he ran off to go compete in the battle.
Exactly. Yeah, I was wondering how that was going to play out, because you see it building up. Like he finally is doing better at work, and he's earning the trust of his boss Manny. And he's like, "Hey, someone's out sick tonight. Could you cover?" He's like, "Sure, I'll cover." And we know that's the same night as that.
Right away, you can't do it.
Yeah.
For real.
Exactly. Yep.
No more privileges, no more shift offerings. Yeah. You can't bail on that.
The one thing that I didn't quite sit well, or I didn't quite get, was I thought there'd be bigger beef between Alex and Jimmy after Jimmy caught them in coitus. Like, they're not mad, or neither of them are mad, but I don't know. Maybe I think Jimmy understood, like, okay, this is sort of like what the game is, and so he wasn't that mad. But I think anyone would have been like, she comes to the plant and they have a very civil conversation, and I thought that's not how I thought it was going to go.
Right.
Did he actually catch her, or was it mostly hearsay? Like, I didn't know if he caught wink with her, or
he did.
Oh yeah,
okay,
he caught the mid-act.
He did.
Okay, I missed that.
Very, very much did.
Okay,
he caught the mid-act.
I got you. Yeah.
And Coitus interruptus.
Yeah.
Beat Wink to a pulp while Wink's pants were half down.
And that precipitated his beatdown in front of Lily later.
I got you.
Yeah.
I must have missed that part. Okay.
And you see it in the background of the next studio over, having an interview. Meanwhile, there's some fisticuffs going on in the next studio. You're gonna see it. That made me laugh. It kind of been a funny little twist on a serious situation, but still, I was like, I would think Jimmy would be more mad, but I guess he's got the bigger fish to fry in that case.
I don't think he was as mad at her because she wasn't really his girlfriend.
Yeah, and there's that.
He was more mad at Wink for crossing the line.
Yeah.
Like, you knew that I was interested in her, and you stepped on my toes, and you're not supposed to do that. Whereas her, she was like, you know what, she's he's not really my girl. We've had interest and we've fooled around a bit, but we don't necessarily have a relationship.
Yeah.
Like a title or anything on it.
Right.
It's like kind of like, hey, I see you in passing and I like you, but we're not really together. But in the sense of the crew still supposed to be off limits. So the crew, still supposed to honor that and just not even bother her. And Wink violated that aspect.
Yeah.
And got violated in the process.
Yeah.
I was looking up some other like facts about 8 Mile because I know there's a lot that happened around the filming. And Brittany Murphy, who plays Alex, actually was romantically involved with Eminem during the production. She admitted that in an interview with David Letterman back in the early 90s that she was. And there was rumors that Eminem was actually hitting on Kim Basinger during the filming as well.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Yeah. I don't know. They were denying anything happened, but also be remiss if we didn't mention 8 Mile, for those that are unaware, is an actual road in Detroit, 8 Mile Road. And it's kind of like a line of demarcation and a color barrier of sorts for different portions of the city.
Yeah.
Yeah. The more affluent white neighborhoods are north of 8 Mile, and the urban neighborhoods are south of 8 Mile. And the Jay Dilla book has a really good breakdown of the whole geography of Detroit, and I recommend going through that for more color about the 8 Mile situation.
Yeah. The song Lose Yourself was recorded specifically for the movie, and it was the first rap song to win the Academy Award for Best Original Song, which it did in 2003.
Yeah.
I mean, that's become an anthem for,
like
kind of like a hype up anthem. It starts off real slow, kind of like the piano melody, and then it kind of like, it's all about not missing out on your one shot, your one opportunity.
Yeah.
In fact, go ahead, Boogie.
I listened to it on the way. It came on, I think it was yesterday. It was one of the days. Yeah, yesterday. I was like, wow, this is my song right here. Yeah, I love that song. It's a great song.
I heard that song every Saturday at martial arts because my seafood would play that because we used to train to music, and like that was our favorite song. So I heard it every Saturday. I didn't need to listen to any more Eminem songs after that. Every Saturday, without fail, Lose Yourself was the first song that came on.
There's something special and unique about the song. Like I like the cadence to me is unique, where it's a little like the staccato or choppiness is like the clock's time's up, over, blah, back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh, there goes gravity. Choked. He's so mad that I really love how that flows. It's something that it seems unique. I've never really heard that kind of flow the way it breaks up like that, and it kind of builds to a crescendo.
Yeah, he's a musical genius.
Yeah, and the famous line in the beginning, there's vomit on a sweater already, mom's spaghetti. And you guys have seen that, I believe Eminem has a chain of restaurants called Mom's Spaghetti.
Yes.
That he started like in the past couple of years. Yeah.
I haven't been to one. Are they in the Detroit area?
I think so.
Yeah.
I was watching the Hard Knocks on HBO. They were doing the Detroit Lions in the off season, in the training camp. And Eminem made an appearance because that's his team, obviously. And he catered the one practice session.
Oh, nice.
Mom's Spaghetti. I was like, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when they had the grand opening. He popped up at the restaurant at the grand opening and was actually serving people. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, Detroit John Bon Jovi serving people.
That's right. He looks so tiny next to those football players, obviously. I mean, I don't know what his stature is, but he's not a big guy. And actually, I heard that for this movie, he lost 24 pounds. So he was kind of, he's always been kind of thin in my eyes, but he was almost like rail thin in this movie.
Yeah, he had to be more period accurate for that. I guess he didn't have to Dropped down to his 1995 weight.
Yeah, right.
I'd be hell to do that. I don't know how I could.
Jeez.
I couldn't do it.
Yep. Another interesting tidbit I found is that the role of Cheddar Bob, both Seth Rogen and Jason Segel auditioned for that role.
That's kind of the genre. It feels like that's the type of actor they
That's it. Yeah, exactly. But I think they were joking around the whole time, and they were goofing off, and they didn't. They're good friends in real life, Seth Rogen and Jason Segel, and they didn't get it. And they're like, years later, they're like, it went to some other guy, and he was really good, and he did a much better job than we would have, which was Evan Jones.
I feel like those guys, even I guess then they weren't as big as they are now, but
yeah, you're right.
2002. But that would have been. There's like a gravitational pull of the big actors like Mekhi Phifer and Kim Basinger. But imagine those two, one of those two guys in that role. It's kind of funny.
I actually watched this on DVD. I had purchased it at a flea market a while back because I knew that we'd be covering it for real cheap. And it had some extra special features, and I was able to watch a couple of them. What was neat is they talked about rap battles and how intense they are. And like we were saying, Eminem grew up doing this, and he would be so devastated if he were to lose one. So in this scene, like the final rap battle scene, you see there's a big mob of people. There are like 300 folks, and they all have their winter coats and parkas on, and they're in this kind of warehouse type facility. They were there for like 12 to 14 hours a day for like 3 or 4 consecutive days, and they were getting a little antsy here and there. So the director, Curtis Hanson, had this great idea. He saw that like in between cuts, other little rap battles were breaking out. So he actually set up a rap battle tournament amongst the extras. He said, whoever wants to sign up and show off their skills. And it was like 134 of them signed up. They thought that they could be an MC. So that he would give them only like 15 seconds, and they would, both Hanson and Eminem's manager, and there were a couple of judges, and they would kind of jot them down, and they whittled them down to like 20. Then they did a little bracket tournament, and the final 4 got to go up against Eminem, like head to head.
Nice.
Kind of cool.
Wow. Can you imagine that? It's like getting in the ring with Tyson.
I know. I
wouldn't want to do that.
Nah.
They didn't want to wear out Eminem's voice, so he actually pantomimed his stuff. And then when he got to the final 4, they were kind of really blasting him and insulting him, because that's what it is. It's a verbal tirade. And he's like, I can't do this anymore. So he actually got on the mic and he just ripped them, and he was like, no contest. But that was kind of cool. And these guys were commemorated forever on film here because they're in this special scene here. I thought that was a good idea. Yeah.
That sounds really cool. Wonder what happened to those final 4 finalists.
Yeah.
Where are they now?
Exactly.
8 Mile final finals.
There was one woman, but he tore her apart.
And was merciless on the mic.
Yeah, you don't mess with him.
Yeah, that's like getting into the ring with Mike Tyson. It's
exactly
playing Gary Kasparov chess. Like, yeah,
it's just like
not for me.
Like me trying to take LeBron a 1-on-1.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think? Did you enjoy the music overall in the film?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I mean, to start with Shook Ones Part 2, woo-hoo-hoo, I was in. I was already in.
I mean, this is like pretty much my favorite era of hip hop from the late 80s into the mid 90s. Like that's my sweet spot, my heyday. So like even the non-Eminem tracks, I heard Insane in the Membrane by Cypress Hill. I heard some Biggie. I heard Naughty by Nature.
Far Side was
every song I was like, yes, I remember. This is great. This is great.
Very much enjoyed the music.
Yeah, music is classic.
Yeah, and this was a box office smash. Budget was $41 million, and it made $243 million in the box office. It was one of the most sought after DVDs when it was released of all time. Yep.
I remember when it came out, and I was working retail at Best Buy. Yeah, it was flying off the shelves.
We just passed the 20th anniversary. It was released November 8th, 2002.
Oh.
Yep.
Universal Pictures put it out. It had a lot of backing.
I don't think it needed to be made today.
This is
It was perfect the first time.
it's kind of like a icon origin story or a superhero origin story, right?
Yeah, really. You got
Exactly.
Anthony Mackie in it. It's like a superhero story.
That's true. Yep. So when we go around and give our ratings of the film. So Boogie, bring that funky flick back. Bring that funky flick back. Or leave it in the vault.
Oh man, bring that funky flick back. Got to.
Dino, right?
Bring that funky flick back.
Of course. Bring that funky flick back.
Right on. Okay.
It's a classic. Yep.
Yeah. Hip Hop Movie Club is produced by your HHMCs, JB, Boogie, and Dino Wright. Theme music by Boogie. Check us out on TikTok and Instagram at Hip Hop Movie Club. On the next episode of the Hip Hop Movie Club podcast, your HHMCs will review Notorious. It drops in 2 weeks. Subscribe today in your favorite podcast app and you won't miss it. Shout out to you listeners. Thanks for tuning in.
And remember, don't hate, resonate.
Resonate, yes.
Yes.
Shout out to Brain Freeze Trivia in the Lehigh Valley. Check out the Instagram, brain_freeze_trivia_time. That's Brain Freeze Trivia time on Instagram.